He didn't have enough cash to make the payment. It was a temporary situation. It just wouldn't happen today for a big company like that. They would be able to get money on the open market. But because Morgan basically controlled the open market in those days, even for the government, with no Federal Reserve, he could make that decision and block that type of cash inflow that Westinghouse would have easily gotten today. That electrical company was the company he loved the most at the time. It was where he was doing all his progressive projects, all his scientific research. The air brake company, which he retained, was pretty much steady business. So he went after another group of inventions in a lot of different ways that he could utilize the resources and the money of his air brake company.
The short years of his life that remained after the tragedy were filled with the same unceasing activity. A friend asked him if he would slow down, and he replied, "No, I do not feel that it would be right for me to stop now. I feel that I've been given certain powers to create and develop enterprises in which other men can find useful and profitable employment, and so long as I am able, it is my duty to continue to exercise those powers." Lifelong, he was temperate in everything but his work. In an era where everyone smoked, George Westinghouse did not. He rarely drank, and he never used profanity. One writer said of him that while Westinghouse's head was in the stars, his substantial feet were on the ground. Late in 1913, his health began to fade. What was called an organic disease of the heart developed, and he retired to his home in Lenox to rest. During the illness, his quizzical humor and inventive spirit lived on, but his body slowly faded away. On March 12, 1914, he died. It was said that drawings for an electric wheelchair that he was designing were nearby at the time of his death.
Upon his death, his 8 pallbearers were all his oldest workers from the Westinghouse Air Brake Company, including the very first worker that he had ever hired. To have that honor to be a pallbearer at George Westinghouse's funeral certainly showed the interaction he had with average workers in his plants.
Marguerite died a few months later. George and Marguerite Westinghouse are buried in Arlington National Cemetery beneath a modest headstone. He had requested to be buried there in honor of his Civil War service.